Call the meeting to order if everyone's ready. I got 1921. Roll call. Mount Hona.
Greg Phillips.
Chris Orland.
Mark Ellis.
And Chris Williams.
Chief is here. Okay. Anything? Approve, edit, or add to the agenda? Only thing, I'm probably going to sit around some of the old business in light of the previous conversation, I think. We'll hit them all. We'll just put them in a different order probably. So
I move the agenda be approved.
I have it moved by Greg,
A second.
seconded by Chris. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any public comment regarding the agenda? Yeah. Financials.
Look good to me.
No questions?
No questions.
Move the financials be approved.
Okay, been moved by Greg,
Second.
seconded by Chris. Financials are the same.
Oh, you're right.
The other Chris.
I'm
Any-
CJ.
Any further discussion? That's right. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
My financials says Chris Orland Phillips. I'm not married to Greg.
You're not?
I know your eyesight might be bad, but
I feel rejected.
your wife might not think so.
Okay.
Sound.
Moving on to paying the bills. Any questions there?
So
Okay.
I've never liked
Is
bills.
there a motion to approve to pay the bills?
I move to pay the bills.
Okay, been moved by Chris,
Second.
seconded by Greg. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, minutes from last month.
I would like to abstain from that one because I was not here.
I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I move to approve.
Moved by Greg,
Second.
seconded by Chris.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With Chris Orland abstaining, she wasn't here. All right. I propose on this one, we get the collective bargain agreement up front and kind of skip the IGA, at least for now, the city of Pendleton. So the last draft was sent out last week.
So click on apps on the left. I don't know why they buried everything.
Apps, Outlook.
Get this way.
So I got sent out last week. I didn't get any comments until today, right under the wire. And so reading through there, what I have here based on the contract that we sent out to Jared and group that was shared with them, the big, well, what?
Well, I'll click open in Word. There you go.
There we go. Thinking. It's supposed to be dark. We make it.
That's not wrong. It's changing too.
Okay. All right, so I think, well, I don't want to throw you under the bus, Mark, but
Go ahead.
you had a bunch of questions, and I think I can actually answer all of these, and if I
Okay.
can't, I'll ring in some other folks that could probably answer. First one, and Chris, you talked about this too. I thought we had all the cities cleaned up.
Yeah, I think I found 3 of them.
I got 6.
There's,
3. I got them right here as track changes. Article 2 is one of them. You can see up there.
yep.
The next one is Article. Here's how I did it. Just did this.
Article 23, I think.
Does that have my track changes on that? Up there.
Oh, mine went into the drug policy too, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just the CBA.
Yep. So there's one. There's another one coming up here somewhere. There's 2 on one page.
That was,
Oh, yeah, page 11's got 2 of them.
Can't see this stuff to scroll very good. So.
if you do control F and type city, it'll just find them for you.
Yeah, that's what I did, but they don't say that anymore.
Really?
Well, they do actually, because I changed them. You say
Yeah,
page 12
One more page. Should be that page.
page.
Um,
Right there.
Article, yeah, 23.
So Article 24, union business, and then section 3 up above, it says it as well. And then it says it down here in the,
24 section 1
the drug policy. So,
in Article 24 section 1 had it as well.
Oh, yeah, he had that one.
Yeah, you already get that one.
I think I got
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is it supposed to be?
it's supposed to say district.
District.
And so I've made those edits on this document. That is the only change I have made is
Well, my
essentially
handwriting's not the same.
changing city to, city to district and a couple times in there, as you guys can see.
Yep. Yeah, and then the one in the drug.
Yeah,
Yep.
drug policy,
Got that.
et cetera. So that's the only edits that have been made. And I thought when Jared and I were bouncing this back and forth, I think he found a couple more originally, and then it's tough
Yeah.
to, when you don't have one document to work off of,
Sure.
we're all kind of sharing copies. So I think we've met the intent there.
Hmm.
So the intent is not to have city, it's to have the district. Article 7 regarding union dues, all the contract says is that we agree as the employer to withhold those union dues from their payroll. The dues we have nothing to do with setting a rate or maintaining union dues. That's 100% on the union and through their agreement. So we just agree to do it through a payroll deduction.
Okay.
The amount can be whatever they decide it is. Article 11. See, talks about wage steps that an employee may advance provided criteria that the step is met, but does not list the criteria for a step increase. And we talked about that one. Essentially, the criteria for step increases doesn't necessarily ride in here. It will be in the either policy or in procedure manual or how things are going to be laid out there. So it doesn't specifically say, here's what you got to do to get to this, that, or the other.
So does it need to happen there, the criteria set out in policy or something like that?
Reference where it is
Right.
defined.
I think that would be a good idea.
But if we change that or where that's defined, then we'd have to modify this CBA. And so if we were to change a policy or move something around, we would have to do a modification to this prior to the next bargaining session. So once this is done, this stays unless we all agree to open back up, and modify. Is that correct? Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, normally like the criteria for the steps is bargaining between the union and y'all. So we'll talk about it and figure out the best way to go about it.
Because
It will be in policy, but it will be something that comes from.
So it has yet to be set. There, we don't have anything.
Right now, no. And we have time, so it's not that. That's something I had to explain to the crew as well.
So we're good with that one.
Mhm.
12 and 14 layout, sick leave and vacation accrual.
I was just curious with those two, because we got 24-hour sick leave if they're working on 48.96, and then was it 14 if they're for vacation, and I wasn't sure what the current rule is set up. So with the CBA, is it an increase? Does it say the same? Is it a decrease?
Should be the same as what they're getting currently.
Is it dependent on your service?
So the one that happens right now that is in, that is actually happening right now, it is with seniority. So if you're starting,
Right.
it's lower, and as you go up, it gets higher. So what we decided to do was make it good for everybody and get the median number, which was 14, and put that across.
Some of the people that had seniority are going to lose hours on vacation.
I think the highest person here was only one person that was at 19.
Okay.
So to make it fair for everybody, we had to have an equalizer.
We'll get back to the fair part.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
I mean-
I'll say this now in case it comes up later. The folks that have gone through this on the employee side have agreed that this is fair through them as well. So I would hesitate on modifying anything here very drastically, other than some grammatical stuff if we find it. But that group had to come to agreement in terms with, hey, this.
So they've seen this as it's written and agree on it.
Majority rule, yes.
Yep.
We had some people that did disagree, but majority rule was in favor of, and it was blood, sweat, and tears to get there. So, like I said, if you want to give us more, I'm not going to say no. But
Well, my thing is I don't want to see anybody get screwed. Monetary hours.
well, and that's the thing. So when working with a group of individuals based on like we are and seniority, how long they've been here and all that stuff, you can't make everybody happy. You're going to make somebody upset. Period. And there's people from the low end that are upset for certain things, and there's people at the high end that are upset for certain things.
Right.
And you had to meet in the middle. And for the majority vote that we got, it was we pretty much met in the middle.
So will there still be a seniority thing? Because that was one of the questions I had.
Yes. And
Based off of everybody going to step one, that basically screws over seniority.
No.
No.
That has
So
nothing to
there's
do
two
with it.
different
Rank and seniority different.
rank.
No.
So
Longevity.
hang
is what I'm
on,
talking about.
hang on. We're skipping ahead here.
Okay.
One step at a time.
So the vacation and the sick leave
Mhm.
was agreed upon by the members.
Okay.
So we're gonna call that one good. Article 14 needs more explanation as when an employee is required to take vacation when they reach a certain amount. I'm not sure I'm tracking. I might need a little more context.
Well, in section 4, reading through that, I read through it like 5 times. I still don't understand what section 4 means. But if the employees are okay with the way that it's
Maximum
written,
12 just vacation.
that's fine.
That's their carryover. So essentially they can have X amount of vacation. Any amount over 288 hours is use or lose. So they'll lose that. So if they carry 290 hours, they lose the 2 hours. They can only carry 288 over.
Right, but if you go back to,
Employees earning 5 shifts of vacation. So that was explained to me as if they earn whatever the equivalent of 24 times 5, if they earn that many shifts of vacation, they have to take that many shifts of vacation
okay,
or a shift more of that every year. So you have to take some vacation throughout the year, is the way I understand that.
Yeah, the benefit to that is it forces our employees to take that break. That honestly sometimes we.
I got that part of just the wording, the way it was worded. I'm like, I
That's
was like, as long as you guys understand it, I'm okay with that.
yeah, we got it.
But I just didn't want to sign off on something that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So,
14, the 40-hour schedule. Yeah, so that's, and we don't have anybody in the 40-hour schedule, but if somebody goes to a 40-hour schedule, this was kind of the middle ground, because the intent with going from a, whatever it is, a one, not, no. 216, what is it? What's the
Well,
number?
According to this, 182.
Going from a 48.96 to a 40-hour a week. The intent is not to like, oh, I accrued 24 hours of leave as a 48.96. Now I'm a 40-hour person. Now I got 24 hours of leave.
Oh, right, no, yeah.
It
Right.
shrinks and grows with how you accrue it and what
Hours you're
out. Yeah. And so this was a middle ground to get some hours in the folks that if they have to transition to a 40-hour schedule, it kind of makes up for some of that because they're not getting as much on the other.
Right.
Right.
Yes, that seems pretty good.
Okay.
Article 18, I think which is seniority. The seniority still comes into effect because folks do have a seniority roster when they were hired. Our pay scale doesn't really have anything to do with seniority.
That's just for bumping people in case of layoffs, right?
Yeah. So when people were hired is the seniority date. There will be a seniority roster maintained. It says this person was hired here. They are senior, so on and so forth. The pay scale just gets implemented wherever folks are, and then everybody goes to wherever they go. And in this case, since it's the first pay scale and it's a bump, like everyone's going to the same pay scale. But we could hire somebody tomorrow.
I know that you guys say it's a bump. I have yet to see the numbers on paper side by side to show that it's actually a bump. Because I'm hearing things from different people on monetary things that they had that's going away. I mean, again, in my email, I said it took me 2 hours to figure out the pay scale. I'm sorry, but it should not be that confusing as to how these guys are actually getting paid on the 48.96 schedule. I'm a math guy. Every time I get a bump in my step, I sit down and I figure out what my yearly is, what my hourly is, and it takes me 5 minutes. Why did it take me so long to try to figure this out? I had to go back to the union contract, read it, go back to the pay scale, go back to the contract and read that section, go back to the pay scale. It's very confusing. I finally figured it out. And based on the numbers that I have versus what's there, that what's in the pay scale is not correct.
This isn't correct.
Not based on how I figured out, and I tried to put in a detailed description of how you get that. But I'm just saying what I ended up with is the numbers there that with the 48.96 in a 24-day cycle, a person works 8 days, and I've got the spreadsheet to show that every 24 days they work 8 days. It doesn't ever change.
Mm-hmm.
In that 8 days, that 24 hours is 192 hours. So that's 182 at regular time and 10 hours at OT. Based on the very first step, that's 3,425 and 24 cents of straight time for that 24 hour or 24 day shift, and $282.30 as overtime. Now in the 24 day cycle, that's 3,707. Don't change. There's 15.21 cycles in a year. Multiply that together and you get 56,391.68, not the 55,000 that it says on the pay scale.
You're counting overtime.
Yeah,
This is all base pay.
but given the 24-day schedule and is that OT is their base pay. Am I not correct on that?
You're not correct on that. So they're paid off whether it's annual, monthly, hourly. You can translate it down to whatever bucket you want to put it in.
Okay.
This pay scale starts out at $55,000 a year. Annual salary, base pay for a firefighter EMT, 63,760 for advanced, and 73,915 for a paramedic. Base pay, as they work overtime, based on the 48.96 schedule, they will accrue more money in the year based on the overtime they work, but their base pay will be that 55 63 or 73,000.
See, again, it's
So-
very confusing.
Well, the 4896 is confusing, and I don't know that I fully wrapped my head around 24 paydays or 24 days in a
Pay cycle.
pay cycle, but they get paid monthly, and it took us a while to wrap our heads around that too.
Yeah.
And so I will trust that this math correctly, and that's part of the reason why Pendleton was explored, because they run a 24-48 schedule, or 48-96 schedule, and they know how to pay people off in a 24 payday cycle and a monthly pay system.
Okay.
So that's a lot of words, but I think this is right. This pay scale is based off of a 3% increase through the steps, and then there's a 3% increase from a step 5 one category to a step 1 next category. So it's 3% across the board, all throughout this whole thing. It should be, at least
Okay.
that was the intent.
Okay, so my confusion came with the OT, thinking that was part of their regular.
Yeah, it's not part of their regular salary. It's overtime. It's extra.
Okay.
So, and that is also built into that proposed budget
Mhm.
in order to cover said
Okay.
shifts, et cetera. Did I explain that right? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Getting pretty good at this.
We went over it probably 50 times, and that was
Yeah.
probably the biggest source. As far as the seniority versus pay scale thing, when you go to other fire departments and you see them spread out on the pay scale in accordance with your seniority, it's because there was already a contract established and they worked their way through the contract.
Personally, I still feel that there should be some kind of benefit or parallel to their seniority and the pay scale. I personally don't think that everybody should start at step 1. That's my own opinion. Again, I've been in the agencies where you've been there 3 years and they change the pay scale. Now the person they just brought on is being paid the same as you are.
I hear-
What's the incentive of staying if every time they do a change, I get bumped back to what we're starting at? So if I've been in a business for 5 years, or 6 years, or 7 years, and now we got this new contract, and now all of a sudden I'm at the same pay scale as somebody who started last week, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I understand why it was done, but I just don't agree with it.
Let's move on.
Obviously, Greg doesn't care one way or the other.
I don't.
So,
Mark, I hear what you're saying, if I can just interject,
Absolutely.
but once again, the employees
right.
voted on this. This is, we didn't necessarily lay that out.
Right. No, I get
You
it.
know, and
But I'm saying, I don't agree with it, but if that's the decision, if they're okay with that, then we can go forward. So.
Yeah. I mean, we can keep arguing this or chatting about it. I get your point. I think it's a valid point, but at the end of the day, from what I understand and what I've seen, is the folks that will be, yes, they'll all be at the same step of the same pay scale, roughly. I mean, some are paramedics and some are EMTs,
Right.
so they'll be in the different stack, but commensurate with their qualifications.
Mhm.
Everybody starting out at a step 1 is going to get a raise, except for one individual with a mitigation to bring him in at a higher step. And that's all been vetted throughout them. That's all within the employees to figure that out. So I take this as it's a substantial, increase from where our base is. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think all of our employees are going to benefit. What I will take with this is again, and I've heard professionalism and I believe that. And this to me, says that, hey, we're going to pay you a professional wage to be a fire medic or a fire EMT. And I think the trade-off is that we see that service and we see that professionalism, and we got to walk that walk now, right? Because we're saying that we'll pay for this. Now we got to see it implemented in action. So I think that's,
And I think that's
That's-
important that they understand that,
Yeah.
the expectation, you know.
No, I apologize that it took so much time to actually look through it when it really didn't matter, so.
No, it does, and
Well, it does.
No,
I mean,
obviously it doesn't, because it's already been adopted or agreed upon by the employees. Matt brought it to us as a courtesy, I get that. I misunderstood that to mean that he wanted us to go through it and give feedback on things that we don't understand, but if we're not gonna change anything. Or, I mean, I understand part of it, some of it now, so.
there's two things there. One, yes, I want feedback because I always want feedback from stuff because we might have missed something. Obviously, we missed city
Mhm.
6 times, right? And that's clerical. We can make those changes and make that. The board asked, appointed, whatever, myself and Christine to navigate and
Right.
negotiate this for the board on the board's behalf. And so, yes, we have a little more latitude to agree on what this is going to be. And it's more than a courtesy because the entire board on this resolution needs to sign off on this. And so anyone is welcome to vote yes, anyone is welcome to vote no. That's what it comes down to. So, and the board's decision collectively will be what goes forward on a resolution, or if a resolution doesn't pass. That's pretty simple. But at the end of the day, the employees that voted to unionize, and there's like, that train's down the tracks, and that's happening. Like there's nothing that we can do to say we can't do this now or undo it. It's like that's happening. So I did, when we first were going down this path, there's a whole Oregon ORS chapter on how to collect a bargain and form. There's not a lot of information on how to uncollect a bargain. So like I take it as this is gonna stick. So that's how I read it. But
The only other thing, and it's not a big deal, but there was one section on records retention. Now, I did look at that, and in the agreement, it was 2 years and something. But everything I read online was you have to maintain it for 3 years, and if is on disciplinary action. If the discipline or exonerated, it has to be held for 3 years. If they're terminated, it has to be held for 10. Now, I don't know if it's different for fire and EMS, but that's just what I found. I just wanted to make sure that the CBA is within the guidelines of OER as far as the records retention. That was the only other thing that to me stood out as something that we need to make sure is actually, or whoever needs to make sure that it's actually abiding by those rules.
under Article 21A.
And again, maybe for fire EMS, it's different, and I just couldn't find it, but what I did find under OER 166 was 3 years if they're disciplined or exonerated, 10 years if they're terminated.
well, I'm not even sure how to look whether we follow this or whether we follow the other. But
Okay, well, I just, again, I want to make sure that it's following all the rules. And that's the last I'll say about it.
you didn't find all the track changes. Accept it all and we'll see if that works or not. I did see another district. We'll get this right one of these days. No. You see any more, Chris, or am I scrolling too fast?
I haven't seen any more. No.
I think I clicked at least 4.
Okay.
5. Yeah, there's one. think that's all of them. And this saves to OneDrive. So if I were to print this, can I print this?
I don't know if that's got a printer set up on it. I'm not sure.
So if I email this to you, you can print it, or somebody can print it? Let me figure out how to do that.
Sarah, put you on that or?
Well, I'm not gonna worry about trying to get a copy of that tonight, you know. But yeah, that's not, I have a printer on it, but I didn't think about it. Hit the three dots up there next to Copilot. Hit the three to the far right,
Over here,
down.
these ones?
Yes, the page. And I don't know, I hardly ever use this online.
Yeah, and I there's no other, I mean, without-
That you could attach it as to a new email, send it to me.
well, that's. So, I don't have to save.
Maybe share,
For sure.
try the share.
Try the share.
Yep,
Gotcha. Share.
let's see.
Share with people, copy a link.
So if it helps, the way we read that,
See what was going on.
Do share with people
in this agreement, it's saying that they can hold our,
and then just start typing my
it's a
name.
minimum of 1 year they can hold it
Yeah.
for discipline or whatever. They're gonna follow ORS anyway as default,
Fine, guys.
but in that agreement, it just says after 2 years. they
Copy
can
that.
do it, press it.
Yeah, you can print that tonight.
But it still follows the ORS, it doesn't contradict, it.
Yeah.
That's why we like.
I just had the question, that was the.
But yeah. We read this so many times and. So, I mean, as long as the directive being maintained in accordance with ORS, which we're obviously gonna do. The only thing the union contract says is that you can't use it for progressive discipline after. That's it. And that doesn't violate anything.
So sitting before me, I've got two resolutions, three, but we're just gonna talk about two right now. It seems like there's two to it. Is there two to adopt this? I was curious. One is we recognize that, essentially we agree to recognize the IAFF as a representation, and then we agree to all the article stipulations and pay scales in the CBA as a board. Is that? So there are two resolutions.
One to recognize.
One to recognize the union and one to say that this is our contract, is how I understand that. So, I guess being that, well, Christine and I worked on this, we've gone through this, I think we've addressed at least the comments, maybe not everybody's happy, but, I guess I'd be ready to call for a vote to either adopt or not adopt the CBA.
Is that the first one we're voting on?
Well, I can read the resolution. You want me to start with those and see who?
Well, I think you have to do the union one first, right? That we're
That we're recognizing the union?
recognizing that before we
That makes
do
sense.
the contract.
Okay. So resolution 2026-1, by this resolution, the East Umatilla Fire Rescue Board of Directors agrees to recognize the International Association of Firefighters, Local 2296, as the representation organization of its hired firefighter EMTs. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make it.
Okay. Been moved by Mark.
I'll second.
It's been seconded by CJ from Chris Werland.
Mary to Greg,
Any
sorry.
further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Resolution 2026-1 passes. Resolution 2026-2. By this resolution, the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue Board of Directors agrees to all articles, stipulations, and pay scales for the collective bargaining agreement or contract between itself and the hired workers based in Western Oregon. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-2?
So moved.
Moved by Greg,
I second it.
moved by Greg, seconded by Chris Williams.
Mark, do you need to declare a conflict of interest on this?
Because my son-in-law is part of the union.
Yeah. And this is the pay scale for the union.
I can. That, yes, I do have a little bit of a conflict of interest.
So are you recusing from a vote from this?
I probably should.
It's been moved. The motion on the table has been moved, has been seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? 4-0. Mark has recused himself of the vote. So we have adopted the CBA. Hopefully that's connecting and sending that to Jeremy. With the edits, hopefully the other one doesn't show up with Stiddy in it. If we do, we'll just pen and ink it at that point. Yeah, this is a big step, and this is, I'll say, a little nerve-wracking process, and it's, I didn't expect to be here a year or 2 years or 5 years, so here we are. And so, as any organization, we got to grow and move with it. Appreciate that. I'll be sending these resolutions around.
Well,
I
thank you to
appreciate
you
it.
and Christine for all the work you put in to
Absolutely.
get that.
Absolutely.
I think you can sign it though.
I was gonna ask. Right?
Yeah, you can sign it even though you didn't vote for it.
Great.
Good. Make sure you sign your name, right?
Don't sign CJ.
It's eerie how close your signature and mine is. If I just sign.
It's just scribbling.
Well, I saw all the other things. I'm like, I didn't sign it.
You feel left out? You want to sign today?
So I'll take that as permission to sign this. Actually, there should be a signature page. My plan is, yeah, right there. So now that the board is approved, I may or may not text Jared tonight, depending on how late it is, but I'll get in contact with him tomorrow. And the plan would be for the two of us to sign this and get this document done. So it's one more thing off our plate. Any other discussion on CBA?
Just to say on behalf of the crew, thank you for all your guys. They're shaping, working together for all of this. It's very appreciated. We won't forget it. Water and
Yep. And printed, so I think we're good. So the next few things on the agenda, one is IGA with City of Pendleton. Then we've got some prevention week activities that we talked about. Anything different there, Christine? Nope. Seeking bids on water pressure solution, and then the external camera, and then I do want to have a little more discussion about this City of Pendleton IGA, since we're all here, and just for, I guess we'll just go there next. I do have a resolution here that would put us into an IGA with the City of Pendleton, based on the last meeting. I'm not ready to move forward with that. If we're not in support of that as both boards, then it's a non-starter for me. So we got to get over that hurdle. I did do a little bit of sleuthing on 190 agreements, just so everybody's tracking. They are interagency / intergovernmental. I don't know which ones if we're designated agencies or governments, based on being a special district in a city. The city's probably a government, and we're probably a an agency. But you can enter in, there's a lot of latitude and leeway to enter into intergovernmental agreements. The only thing I could find in here, it is a big chunk of money, but it looks like intergovernmental and tribal agreements that exceed $150,000 must be submitted to the Attorney General of the state of Oregon before we're able to move forward. So, yeah, this would be under that threshold, but it is a chunk of money to your point. Like I said, we do have a lot of latitude to do 190s, the way I understand them. The fact that there's a lot of things in alignment. Technically we are bidding out our payroll right now. That is happening by a third party outside service, right? And so when we go through all the numbers that we had admin staff and we have extracurricular payroll being done. Can't say some of these words. I'm talking too much today is probably what it is. And then having Joanne on to try to help, like all of those things added up to dang near $100,000 is kind of where, like, we're already expending that either internally or externally, pretty close to that. And part of this, especially with the CBA being the city, it looks remarkably like the city of Pendleton's, at least for the start and finish of that. Like the stuff that applies to us is kind of where that was taken from. They're used to implementing that on the HR side. They're used to paying folks at a 4896 schedule, and all that stuff lines up with an existing payroll system that they know how to do that, so that folks get paid on time, get paid what they're supposed to get paid, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was part of the reason why asking the city of Pendleton if they could provide that. So,
Yeah, to your point, I can tell you that our payroll expense with Jensen and Spratling will go up if they have to figure this 24-day cycle with a 30-day pay period. That's a lot of extra calculations.
oh,
So
absolutely.
they're going to have more man hours into that.
Yeah. So, I guess, so this item was on the agenda. It's going to be on the agenda, I think, every month until we decide to go forward or say, yeah, we're not going to pursue this. And so I guess it would be my intent to have this as a standing item until we've made everybody comfortable enough to go forward or not. And so I think, Ray, to your point, we should look at the number. Like, we should see if that flags anything. But I am skeptical that other businesses would be able to do. Maybe they could, and maybe we just need to reach out and do that due diligence. Maybe that will, not appease isn't the right word, but maybe that will help provide more comfort for folks. So I guess that's where I'll leave it there. Folks have other comments on it? Chris?
Not as of right now.
Not as of right now. Okay. Mark?
None.
Okay. We'll move on to the next thing, Fire Prevention Week activities.
We already
Good job.
discussed that.
Good job.
Seeking bids for water pressure solution and airdrops. Any up?
So on
Dates
the
on that?
30th of September, I've sent out bid requests to Roundup City Plumbing, A1 Plumbing, and Free Water Plumbing, and I have so far received them.
I believe, just interesting tidbit, that Roundup City Plumbing and Free Water Plumbing are the same plumbing. Pretty good.
There's also
Merriman's. Yeah.
Plumbing
Carter's.
and Carter.
So
Yeah.
there are definitely more plumbers I can send that bid information out to. And,
Yeah, I'd tag a couple. When did you send that?
on the 30th of September.
Okay. Yeah, I'd tag a couple more on there and
Oh, yeah.
see what we get. We got to keep soliciting on that.
And the wording, I'm sorry, Matt, but the wording, I'm not necessarily asking for a pump. I just want a solution. If there's a better, less expensive, easier way to do it, then hallelujah, I'm all for it. But if there's,
Well, it's almost like there's two things there. Then we're almost asking for a consultation
Mhm.
to see if there's another solution or a design. versus a bid. Hey, we want a bid to me is like, hey, we need a pressure pump here to do X, Y, or Z. If we want them to figure out another solution, maybe it's more of a consultation and we just.
Maybe that's the problem, is that they have expertise in installing stuff, but they're not the experts in coming up with the solution. Do we need to contact like, who are the folks in Walla Walla, the
Anderson Perry?
Anderson Perry, to do like a consult with us to come up with, hey, this is how you fix the problem, and then we go out with a request for bid for whatever the fix is.
Okay.
Is that?
I like that. I think that's good.
I think it's worth a phone call anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if they do have solutions though, and maybe one of these other ones bites, I think we do both. I think you do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that won't hurt to do both. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that if I send somebody out and said, we want a pump, and somebody comes along and says, okay, a pump costs you $10. And halfway through it, they say, well, we could have done X, Y, Z, and it would have only cost you $5. I didn't want to miss the chance.
Right. Don't paint them in a corner if they have a better way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's that consultation. And so maybe some of the plumbers will do a consultation like, hey, yeah, we'll come look at your system and yeah, we've got to.
If I get to respond,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I did hear, just anecdotally that they're really, really busy right now. At least two of those companies are really, really busy right now.
Well, good for them.
So,
I want to be part of the business.
yeah.
Having them at least come over and tell us,
Yep.
$10, $12, $8, whatever it is.
Noted.
Anderson Perry works closely with the city on water issues, and I think they're very good. I think they're honest. I think they're fair priced, and I think if they can't help us, they'll just say we can't help.
Which company is that, Craig?
Anderson Perry.
Anderson.
Okay. They're the bridge folks, right?
Anything further on that?
No, sir.
External camera operation.
Jeremy's.
We've got a camera set up in the front. There's no video or audio recording inside other than this camera for board meetings. So basically there's one in this corner that catches that side of the building and along the front. And then there's one that was put in the back, but we're going to add some more. Some of that was just kind of testing it out. I'm not a huge video surveillance guy, but I also didn't want to spend $50,000 when it's not necessary. So what we have is working really nice. These newer, just more modern cameras are just crazy. Barely any light outside, and it switches to color mode, and you can actually see color out of the park. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, so we're going to get some more to do the back. But those are just covering the outside for people doing what they shouldn't be doing.
And how much are they increased? Sure.
The original wide camera ones were like 170, and then these other ones I'm looking at are 140. So the ones we got were 180 degrees. They're real wide and not real tall. The problem is you can't kick them out and see the parking lot and then still get stuff at the building. So we're going to shift some of those around. We'll be able to use them, but we'll shift some stuff away. So anyways, that system's working really good. Very easy to get video out of it when the need arises.
So is it upload to cloud storage, or do you have a hard drive here? Or?
Yeah, it keeps it local, so we don't have any recurring costs.
Great.
Yeah, it's using a unit that we use all the time at the ESD for data storage and
Nice.
stuff. And for the price, you can't beat it. So yeah,
And you said it's only video, not audio?
inside, there's nothing inside. Technically, it can record audio outside. I think the camera's defaults to that on. I can turn it off, but Dave wanted to talk about when we want that on.
I know it's illegal to do audio.
Unless you have notifications set up. So we also need to put their signs. I went around and put those, but we also really need to have them at the entrance to the parking lot too. So you are correct that people have to be notified, but if they are, then it's allowed. But it also is something I can just go on and turn off.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
Good deal.
I think we had airdrops. Was that on there too?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was up there under pressure.
Yeah.
So
I found it's called a saddle tee, and basically what it lets us do is, for a plumber, they can put a hole in the existing black iron pipe that we have, the pipes, and then this goes over it and it's rated like 500 PSI or something crazy, and it gives you a threaded section. Then you screw your regulator on and away you go. So you don't have to cut the pipe and pay the expense to, get a T put in times 8 and all of that kind of stuff. It's actually amazingly hard to find that. I didn't even know what the lingo was, but when I found it. So anyway, I ordered one of those so we can check it out, make sure it's what we want. That project's moving. So electrical stuff's already been dropped or done. That was all that was talked about or not, but so now there's electrical drops next to each apparatus instead of cords across the floor.
Great.
Where we get that in the field. This is the air is like the second piece of that, just stuff.
That's good. Yeah, very good.
And the state inspector said that he wasn't sure, he didn't think that we need to have a licensed contractor to do the air line hookups, but I will try to confirm that. But I don't think there is a certification for tapping into an air line, but I'll find out. And if we can do it ourselves, then we'll rent a scissor lift and we'll probably have, Bill has said repeatedly that he can handle that. It's no problem for him. So they'll approach that.
Reports, safety fuels, vehicles, those were handed
So the
out.
only one that I didn't hand out is the fuels crew. They're, again, we're at the winter's just about to start. So when we can do work, we will. It's just one of those things. This is normally an activity that we take place, that more takes place during the summer months. But it's kind of like a catch-22 because you have to send people way up the hill and they're away from our manpower base or our staffing base. And typically those folks that are involved in field reduction and mitigation on properties are also wildland firefighters. So kind of like catch-22.
Okay. Any questions on Chief's report?
You mentioned that the dishwasher's going gunny bag and you sent out for bids. I mean, that's kind of a maintenance item. Why don't you just go to Elgin Appliance, buy one and put it in?
So I was going to do that, and the reason why I kind of held off a little tiny bit is that dishwasher in there is barely a year old, and what I didn't know was that there's no drying component on that dishwasher. I thought every dishwasher had a dryer on it. That one doesn't have one. So our crews basically take things out of the dishwasher and set it on a drying rack with a towel underneath it, and that to me seems asinine. I didn't know that the dishwasher, when we got the appliance package, when we were talking about it, I didn't know that dishwasher that we chose didn't have a drying function on it. I just didn't know that. So my thought was buy another dishwasher, take that one out, sell it on Pelton Marketplace or wherever, and then recoup some dollars and then just throw those dollars into the fund and go that route. But it just doesn't seem right to not have what we would have at our own house, a dishwasher that has a drying component.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Me neither. I was shocked when I walked over and looked at it, and I had to look at it 2 or 3 times, and I asked Joanne to come over and look at it, and I didn't know there was such a thing.
So is it functioning properly? It just doesn't have a dryer?
Correct.
So it does clean the dishes.
Well, yeah, mostly.
So, I mean, the flip side to me would be like, if this thing isn't cleaning properly and maybe it has a 30-day warranty, maybe it has a 1-year warranty, but I mean, if we're waiting to a year in a day before we replace something that has a 1-year warranty, we probably just kind of mess that one up.
Yeah.
But if it's functioning properly, it just doesn't have all the features, then yeah, we should probably remedy it somehow.
And we weren't touching anything on the building at all until 1 year. We were told not to, so we didn't touch anything. That's why just now we're doing the electrical drop downs that we're trying to find, and we're doing the cameras, and just now.
What's the dry dishes?
I do too.
Well, we washed ours before we put them in there. Scrape off the hose and
You're supposed to have to do that if you have any of the current gen ones. Saves energy, water and stuff, both. I still hand wash dishes, so.
Yeah.
So I think we're, without any other questions for the chief's report, I think we're around to good of the order. Greg, you got anything? Chris?
Yes. I would like to acknowledge December 6th is the first Saturday in December is our Christmas party.
We gotta write that down.
I will have flyers out soon,
December 6th.
December 6th.
I gotcha.
And yes, Carol and I are at it again. So make sure you're there.
6 o'clock, right?
Yep. And it's actually, we're going to do it right here. So.
Anything else?
No.
Chris?
I appreciate the map, and I guess my question is, what's our next step? Who do we talk to about how we proceed to make lines match up?
So I had a meeting with, Schaefer. John Schaefer stopped by when I had GIS, whip that up. And he talked about the option. He says this would need to go through the county attorney. That he doesn't see that there is a problem if the people that will fall outside. Basically, what we've been talking about is just us using the correct me if I'm wrong, ASA boundary. Part of the issue is the ASA committee. We're in like midterm, 5 or 6 years into a 10-year plan. And the ASA committee that oversees this, Chief Stanton's on it. I think Chief Perotti on it as well, I think. And so basically, that whole thing, pretty much ASAs don't change until they hit the 10-year, and then they can be up for review. So kind of mid-cycle. So Commissioner Schaefer made the comment. He says there's really nothing preventing us, in his opinion, in still being able to provide service and still receive tax funds from people that would fall outside of our service area if those entities or the taxable lot people are contacted and they approve it. That was an idea he threw out. I have not run it through the district attorney, Doug Olson. So that's one thing he had mentioned.
So say that again, the folks out.
So if we went, because we can't change the ASA at this point.
Right, so the blue line is stuck.
Right. So if we go off of that, instead of using the fire, what we would need to do is contact anybody that's in the current fire boundary and verify that they still want coverage with us. And it's not a subscription because it's a taxable deal. And if they say yes, then evidently legally we can still receive the tax funds from that and then provide service.
So the folks that are outside the ASA.
Yes.
So
Well,
we would change we wouldn't change boundary, but we would be assessing fire tax on stuff that's outside of our fire list. If these people say, yeah. What about the people here? Where the fire district is outside of the ASA boundary.
That would be yeah.
And
So where you're looking at on the
those
left,
people?
technically people, yeah.
So there's people that are in the ASA
Right.
that aren't paying fire, and then there's people that are paying fire that aren't in the ASA in this piece right here. Too.
Yep.
So,
This was an informal meeting with him. He tossed out the ideas. Obviously, that would have to be fleshed out with him and Doug Olson, the attorney, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not a legal.
right.
That's just one option he tossed out.
So, and because the flip side too is like on the north end, like we can't move our fire district line on the north end because it goes into Milton Freewater and it goes into other districts. We can't encroach into other districts.
That's right.
I would suspect there's probably some latitude with the Milton Freewater because rural, because they're not, maybe, I don't know what the right word is. They're not a taxing
District.
rural fire district.
Right. It's a subscription
It's a
service,
subscription. They have a line,
right?
but they have subscriptions. Not everybody in that line pays. They're
Right.
subscription based. So there's probably a bit of latitude there legally, whatever. But on the other end, like we're well outside the ASA. I think we moved that up to the tribe down there. On the south end, and then there's a block of, there is a block of unprotected before you get to the city of Pendleton. So
Realistically, I'm just throwing it out there, but probably 2 people from each board really need to get together, or however that would work out to the gals, or get together and meet with one of the commissioners, and probably get Doug Olson in there, and, cause he's the guy that says yay or nay. I went in just saying, we're talking about, combining districts, how do we do that? That's where the ASA deal came out and said, well, you're not gonna change the ASA for 5 years, and that's where John mentioned that, and
So I do think it'll take a few more meetings. I mean, and we're operating under that it's the intent of both boards to merge into one district still, and I don't see any nays to that. So part of this, like we are asking for this to see what it would take, and so appreciate you bringing it up, Chris. I think big rocks, right? Getting through a CBA, we just got that done. Hopefully that rock is now gonna sit somewhere else for at least a little bit, another 18 months before we gotta start the process over again.
Right.
We still have the IGA with Pendleton, so that is another big rock that we gotta, and this merger is the other real big rock that's hanging out in my mind. So, if it's a person or 2 from each board, I'd say just 1 for now from each board, and maybe make sure it's not like,
they can't have a quorum and all that, I know that.
well, no, but I just like a couple people will be easier to get together than 4 people.
Trying to coordinate the schedule of that meeting.
And I would, there's a few people that are on both boards, so that might make some sense, or it might not make sense. It just kind of depends. But I guess I would ask the board first for a volunteer if they wanted to kind of be part of that.
I'm willing to be part of that.
Willing to be part of
And
that.
it doesn't matter to me which
Board that you represent. So I appreciate that, and I would maybe ask our counterpart board to have maybe the same conversation next month to get a member appointed.
good idea.
And then maybe you get maybe we revisit it.
Yeah, let's revisit
If they
it.
try to appoint you too.
Right. Yeah, let's bring this back up next month.
Yeah.
And I will mention in that too, because it's last week, I remember about 24 hours at a time at this point. Part of the reasoning for doing this and with the commissioners is because the tax rate isn't changing any of that. That would avoid having to go out for a ballot and all that. Because otherwise, that stuff really needed to start like a couple months ago to get ready for May, or it needs to be kicked off literally almost like a whole nother year, or at least to next November and a year at this point, because of just all the stuff that's going to it. So that would.
Yeah, and the gist is if we change the ASA, it affects somebody else's ASA. If we change our fire district, it potentially affects other fire districts. And I guess the other question I just dawned on me, since the ambulance district is a actual district, is the ASA follow the ambulance? Does the ambulance district, is that their line? Is that why the ASA follows that? Or the blue line, is that
ECHD's boundary, that blue line.
so
Yeah.
the health district is the ASA boundary?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So okay. So I'll just say it this way, if we wanted to change our boundary on the fire district side, we could do that by going to a vote. And I guess I'm curious if I guess I just answered my question. If the health district could do the same thing. And not wait for the 10 years to be up, because it's really their district boundary. It does affect other ASAs. And that's probably the coordination piece, but if the boundary is actually for the district, I don't want to say the ASA is irrelevant because it's just lined up off of that. Probably similar to where Hermiston's ends and where Pendleton ends and where everyone else.
And there's some no man's land out there.
Yeah, but it's all covered by the ASA.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, I think that part of the process was like, if we're looking at it more of a county-wide system, does it make sense to, if all things are up in the air, ambulance, fire, EMS, all of the above, can we really start, hey, does this make the most sense? Can we pick up some of this stuff? Can we reduce some redundancy and make some lines line up on the map through a bigger process? And that was part of why we kind of tabled this for a bit, but here we are.
I have an odd question. This email that Dave had sent out, what do you mean by double majority election rules? What are those words? Cause you use it like 5 different times. What does that mean?
When there is a tax that is a new tax or a new amount, I think that the double majority applies to the voting turnout.
And John actually, Schaefer called in the elections official, the head guy, when we were talking. And he actually said in this case that he did not believe we had to have a double majority. The mechanics of it, I can't answer. I don't know, but he didn't think we did, which, long story short, makes it easier to pass.
So what
We
does
just
that
have to
mean?
have 50% plus 1 vote.
Simple majority.
Okay. Anything else on this? Table till next month, but thanks for raising your hand. Appreciate that. You got any other go to the order?
No, sir.
Go to the order. I have one go to the order, and it kind of leads back into the, not necessarily the IGA, but I did reach out to the mayor with the city. The city of Weston has a full-time city recorder and a part-time, I don't want to say it's not a city recorder, it's administrative assistant, whatever. I don't know her title. She's part-time. I did ask the mayor if, based on our conversations, if he thought it was worth pursuing maybe some sort of, agreement to have some local administrative, if we were to pursue the IGA, we still need somebody to do, local monthly bill paying and meeting minutes and some of the other stuff that's very much in alignment with what that individual does right now for the city. He was going to have that conversation with the city council and talk to some of the council members, and if they were all open to that, or at least open to the idea, I'd go to a city council meeting and answer some questions or kind of talk conceptually about it. So there's no agreement, nothing formal, but just more of exploratory type stuff on behalf of the board. It's for the boards. I have not heard back from the mayor. He said if I don't hear from him by Friday, to call him back, and so I will call him tomorrow since I know. So that's all I had for good order. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Been moved.
I'll second
It's
it.
been seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
2029.